friends, it's Sunday again. Let's go over how the last week went. Last Sunday and Monday, I focused on putting in hours at my second job. On Tuesday, I was pretty productive at home. Let me show you. Hello friends, it's Tuesday today. I got an unexpected day off from my office job and I was really hoping to make this video earlier in the day. You know how it is when you have some time off and you try to make a plan for it? It seems like you suddenly have so many free hours you can get a lot done. But then life happens and things don't go to plan. I don't know how it is that with theory and logic and math, I should be having so much more time in my days. But in reality, I really don't. So this morning was spent on sleeping in a little bit, doing a couple of hours of editing so I could publish the video from last week, and rescuing my mom from a dead car battery situation. All that to say is that now it's 2 p.m. As always, I don't know how the time just flew by, but I am still determined to see how much I can get done today. Unfortunately, I woke up with another migraine. It's very mild, but it's definitely putting a damper on my mood. But that's it. Enough excuses. Let's get going. What would really make me happy today is going through this room and all the layers that it needs to become clean again, putting everything back in its place, sweeping the floor, straightening up in general so that things are looking much better. The only spot I am not counting on getting done is this shelving unit right here. This has definitely become a catch-all after we had moved everything out and moved the furniture to paint the room. And as a catch-all, it remains. For now. I do also have dishes to be done, and I would love to sweep the floors in all the other rooms as well. I have put on a load of laundry, and I'll have another one to put in after this one is done. So it would also be ideal to get all those clothes folded, something I didn't do last week, so now there's more. But now I may be getting ahead of myself. In my ideal world, I'd get everything done today in just a few hours, you know, because everything takes 5 minutes. Not. All right, let me get done what I can. I wanted to sweep the floors here in the hallway, as well as the kitchen before I start doing the dishes, because once I start splashing water on everything, it'll just make a mess. And maybe once I get these dishes done, I can wash my floors, at least here in the kitchen and hallway. All right, and now that I'm done with the dishes and cleaned off the counters here in the kitchen as well, I am going to try and wash the floors in the kitchen. All right, this floor is nice and clean. And so is the one in the kitchen. It's still a little wet. So I'm going to turn off the lights and close this area off. Next place to tackle is in the bedroom. Last week I had washed the second set of my bedding and had a friend stop by on Sunday, so I rotated the mattress, which is wonderful because that was one of my tasks. But since then, I haven't put the sheets back on. I also have all the laundry I did today and some still left over from last week. This all will take some time, so let's get started. All right, the bed is made and my second set of sheets is folded and put away in the closet. Now, the piles of laundry. All right, everything is folded. I just have these two orphans. Here is everything folded. Now it's just a matter of putting it away. I think looking back now, it's really funny how I had a specific plan of what I wanted to get done during the day, i.e. the living room. Meanwhile, I did everything but work in the living room. I guess I have a rebellious little brain. Wednesday was another day I was pretty proud of. I spent about an hour reviewing all the mail and the papers, paying some bills. I gave the library a quick call. However, I didn't actually get anything accomplished with that. I got my oil changed. I devoted some significant time to setting up my new phone, but I actually got it pretty usable. Another important thing I was able to check off my to-do list last week was getting a new phone. And now I'm going to take a few minutes to set it up and see if I can transfer my number. And I spent 2 hours, probably a little more, in the garden. With how busy I've been this spring, the garden really got neglected this year. I constantly feel like I'm just playing catch up in all areas of my life. But during these few hours of pulling weeds, I definitely made a couple of beds look much, much better. I left Thursdays posted in here on purpose because I wanted to show you how I had planned each day. So on the post-it before leaving work, because that seems to work pretty good for me, I would write out a list of everything that I hoped or needed to get done that particular day. And then that would be the list I would work off of. And in the notebook, I would make a list of the things I actually got done. So for Thursday at the end of the day, or Friday, I would take this list off and then make a list in here of everything that I got done. So for Thursday specifically, I watered the plants. I did stop to get gas. I did spend 2 hours gardening. Again, it was probably a little more than that. And I did spend about 2 hours editing. Thursday was a busy day. I did not change my dentist appointment, which I had hoped to do on my way from work, and I did not do any cleaning. After I was done putting down what I actually got done, I would get rid of this post-it note or use it as a guide for my post-it note for the current day. On Friday, I did finally make the call and change the dentist appointment. Yes, hi, I'm calling to reschedule my appointment. June 26th at 2 p.m. All right, thank you so much. I'll see you guys on July 1st. All right, bye-bye. I hate getting on the phone. That's why this was a task, but I was able to get it done. I did also stop by the library and ordered a specific book I am looking for. They should have it available for me in just a few days, which works out perfectly because the book I am currently reading, I only have 2 or 3 days left on. So I really hope that I'll get this new book just in time to continue reading for my 75 hard challenge, which is ending this week. And I honestly don't think the current book that I have will last me to the very end of that. I did then work about 3 hours at my second job, and that pretty much filled up the afternoon. On Saturday, I made some exciting and big progress on one of my goals. I actually had scheduled and attended a basket weaving class. It was something I had been looking for a very long time, several years now in fact, and I was never able to find anything in my area or at a reasonable cost. Something for beginners. The class was held in a historic building, and the quarters were pretty cramped, so I didn't feel comfortable recording anything while I worked on my basket, but it was a pretty good experience. Now, my first little basket, pen holder, I guess, is a little wonky, but I'm proud of it nonetheless, and I'm really excited to try weaving something else soon. All right, let's take a quick look at the monthly page here. I am happy to see a little more colored in on my habits for this past week. Although it is far from perfect, but I did have one perfect day. It's been quite a while since I had one of those. In terms of my monthly goals, I am making pretty decent progress here as well. I have put in quite a few hours at my second job, so I'm well on my way to hitting that goal of 50 for the month. I have done nothing for the physical yet. I have some ideas for planning some time to rest. I did come up with 4 ideas for new skills that I potentially want to pursue. And basket weaving, I could really check off because I not only researched and looked into, but I actually got some practice in. I still want to come up with a few more ideas of things that I potentially want to look into, but this is a good start. What I am really excited to look at is this big to-do list down here. I was actually able to get a bunch of things done on this list, which is awesome. I did request a library book, like I mentioned. I did reschedule my dentist appointment. I did deposit that one check that I had lingering around on that day where I went through all my bills and all my mail. I did get my oil changed, and I did pay my bills for the month. I've got 5 out of 10 done. Not bad, considering we're halfway through the month. It feels like I'm on track with these. And finally, let me flip back to my cleaning tracker. I haven't come in here this week at all to check anything off, so let me quickly check off the things that I was able to get done this past week. I did 1 batch of dishes. Unfortunately, I never got back around to doing the second one. I did water my plants. I did not clean the toilet and sink this week, but I did deep clean the counters the first time that I had done the dishes because, well, they needed it. I did fold my clothes from the laundry from this week and the previous. As you can see, it's been a little bit of time that I hadn't done that. And I did sweep in the kitchen and hallway, and although I can't get full credit because the whole place was not swept, I will give myself partial credit for that. On that note, I will also give myself a little bit of partial credit here for washing the floor in the kitchen and hallway as well. Once I get to the floor in the other rooms, I will fill that in completely. I've learned that sweeping the whole place and washing all the floors in one go is just too much of a task. And that's it. That's all I got done last week. I'm hoping that with 75 hard ending this week, I'll get a little bit more time and energy back to do other things, including these cleaning chores. Aside from that, I will continue to focus on my goals and my habits and hope to make as much progress as possible.